This is Writers Not Writing, the show where you can get to know your favorite writers and soon-to-be favorite writers by listening to them confess to the ways they procrastinate. Thanks for procrastinating with us. I'm Benjamin Gorman, and the quiet guy behind the glass there is Doug the producer. I write novels and collections of poetry and stuff. Doug tries his best to make me sound better. And each week we have a secret word to listen for. If you catch it, you earn the right to take an extra break at the time of your choosing from whatever is stressing you out. From NotAPipePublishing, welcome to Writers Not Writing.
If I take my time.
Hail and well met, readers and reviewers. Welcome to Writers Not Writing. It is Doug and I today, and maybe there's a particularly savvy viewer out there who will catch that last week's show I was in an ankylosaurus costume, but maybe somebody out there who's watching will say, I saw the same sweater shirt thing kind of poking out from that ankylosaurus costume. I think either he recorded this one on the same day or he never changes clothes. I want to assure you it is the former and not the latter. So the reason that Doug and I are recording this episode a week in advance is that in, gosh, how many days is it? 8 days from today, I will be getting married. And so I don't want to be recording a podcast episode on my wedding day, or, editing it. I think that would be really frustrating to my partner, to my family, if I said, sorry, I have to duck out of the reception to go edit some video. So instead, I am here recording a little bit early, and one of the things that means is that I cannot report to you about our success with our Writing Against the Darkness fundraiser. So every year we get a group of writers together and we write from dawn until dusk on the summer solstice, the longest day of the year. And that raises money for the Alzheimer's Association. So around that idea of sundowning, they chose the longest day to celebrate and raise money for people who are either afflicted with Alzheimer's or are for families who are learning to care for family members. And it's a really wonderful charity, and I'm glad to be a part of it. And so we'll be doing that on this coming Thursday. But as of this listening, that happened past tense. I assure you it went marvelously well. And those of you who are listening to this and saying, that sounds like something that I would like to get involved in the future, you can still donate, certainly, for any of the folks in our Writing Against the Darkness team. You could donate it to me. That would really help. But if it goes to the team, that's great, or any of the other authors, wonderful authors who have participated in that, I'm sure they would appreciate it as well. And if you are a writer and you think, I would like to do that, next year we will do it on the shortest day of the year, the winter solstice, to be our dress rehearsal to kind of prepare. And then we will do it again in the summer, next summer solstice, the date of which I don't know off the top of my head. At some point in June, probably around the 20th, 21st, 22nd, tends to be right in there. So if you would like to write with us all day long from dawn till dusk, it is exhausting. It is incredibly productive. You end up getting a lot of words in, and it's fun to write with other folks. And at the end of the day, we kind of compare our word counts and talk about our successes. And at the very worst, you don't write very many words, and you help people in the world who are either have Alzheimer's or the family members caring for folks with Alzheimer's. So it's a win-win-win-win-win. So if you would be interested in participating in something like that, that will happen again this next year. But at that time, I will be, married. Yes, my life is going to change, at least, in some ways. My partner and I are very excited to be getting all of this done. So yeah, here is, one of those things they don't tell you in the in the movies, that in the Shakespearean comedies that end with the multiple weddings. Wedding planning is awful. I shouldn't say that. I'm sure there are some people out there who thoroughly enjoy wedding planning. Some of them are professionals, but some folks out there probably really enjoyed the planning of their wedding, and that's great for you. It is not my bag. And Doug is a single that, if any of you went, ooh, Doug is single out there, I won't reveal too much about Doug's identity, but Doug and I are different in some ways, and Doug is far more handsome. And ladies and gentlemen, if you are interested in someone who hardly ever speaks, Doug is available. But Doug has never planned a wedding, and so I can convey to him all of the the banality of the horror of planning a wedding. It's just so many details. Today's tiny little detail, I can literally give you a measurement of how small it is. So in order to plug in the sound for the ceremony itself, we need to be able to plug in an 1/8 inch audio jack, and I don't know if the system requires a male end or a female end. And I have to order that or an adapter because, of course, phones don't have those jacks anymore. They have USB-C. And so I hope to get word back from the place about which kind so I can order it. So we'll be ready to go with the music. I mean, it's that kind of small bore dumb stuff that you have to take care of. And then, deciding on the font for the program. Like, it's little, everything needs to be figured out. And it's going to be a very strange, lovely service. I think folks will really enjoy it. But both Crystal and I are far more excited about being married than about planning a wedding, which I think is healthy. I think that's good. That should be the part that we're more interested in. But yeah, I'm very excited to be married. I am not enjoying the wedding planning. So that by the next time you hear me, I will be happily married rather than slogging through wedding planning. Special announcement time. NotAPipe Publishing has always been committed to helping authors and readers find one another. Well, the show, which is all about helping readers get to know writers, just hit a milestone. 10,000 views on YouTube. So to celebrate, instead of charging authors to advertise their books on the show, I'm going to run your ads for free throughout 2024. If you want to make a 30 to 60-second video about your book, let folks know what it's about and where to find it, and don't forget your name and the title. I'll run 1 or 2 of those in our ad spot each week. Just send an MP4 file to the NotAPipe email address in the show notes. Let's fix up some readers and authors into reader relationships. 2024. More readers, more writers, more books.
Cold Rising. Algo and their team of enforcers take on the underbelly of Geneva megacity before being sent on a mission to Mars, a cesspit of corporate exploitation. Suong, a child laborer, must turn the heart of Agent Algo while the fate of Mars, her friends, and her family hang in the balance. Cold Rising. Cold Rush novella, available now on Amazon.
I love it when our authors are, feeling that getting that feedback from folks who are saying, I really enjoyed your, YA fantasy, or I really enjoyed your paranormal adventure story, and they're telling our authors this book meant something to me, even if what it meant to them is just they really enjoyed it. That's sufficient. If it meant more than that, please, if you're out there and you are a reader and you are reading something that means something to you, let that writer know in some way, shape, or form. I mean, literally, write them a review on Amazon, Goodreads, whatever. Writers tend to read their reviews, and it is a mechanism to communicate with them that it was valuable to you. And so please do that. I'm trying to make a point this year to review every novel that I read that I can review. There are novels that I have to read, of course, for the company that are manuscripts, and that would be wildly inappropriate to let somebody know. Even reviewing positively would be inappropriate. Those folks need private feedback. But for every novel that's out there in the world, I'm trying to review them. And I've been reading lately, I believe the author's name is G.S. Denny. I'm looking over my shoulder here. Let's see. Yes, C.S. Denny? No, G.S. Denning. G.S. Denning's Warlock Holmes series. And oh my gosh, they are fun. And I have been remiss in my reviewing because I didn't review book one because I didn't want to wait. And I went straight into book two. So I will catch up and write my reviews of books 1 through 5 when I've finished all of those. But yeah, the Warlock Holmes series, spoiler, I'm going to be reviewing them very positively because they're really fun. So I mean, the great thing, I got to meet the author one time, and nicest guy, really fun, funny, which is no surprise. The books are hilarious as well. But I got to meet him, and his log line for the book is like, it's in the title. Warlock Holmes. You don't need more than that. And the book delivers on that. The notion is that Sherlock Holmes, is in this universe. Warlock Holmes is not incredibly competent as an investigator. He is a magical warlock, but a bumbling detective. He can't actually solve anything without the help of the demon voices speaking in his head. And so really it's his partner, who is, I'm blanking on, Watson, of course. John Watson is the brilliant detective who is also constantly wrangling Warlock Holmes, who's incapable of doing basic logic in a world where there is magic, and basic logic sometimes falls apart and betrays John Watson's hope for a solution that will make sense. So the story is very funny. It's very well constructed. I'm looking forward to writing that review of the entire quintilogy. Quintilogy 5, would that be it? I think quintilogy. But yeah, those are really good. So I will get back to it. But this is all to say, if you are reading a book and you are enjoying it, please let the author know in some way. I mean, if you can walk up to them at a convention and let them know that their book meant something to you, or even that it was enjoyable, that you got a kick out of it. Authors need that. We are working often in isolation, and having somebody walk up to me and say, hey, one of your books, I really enjoyed it. I can't tell you that those stick with me. And then whether it's a review online or in person. So please do review and let folks know that their work, their often years of work they put into that thing that you enjoyed for only 15, 16, 50, 30 hours, whatever. They put a lot more time into it than you did, and letting them know that it meant a lot is a kindness. So obviously this episode is going to be a short one because I'm getting married in a week. I've got a good excuse. Give me a break. let me go get married. I should tell you about the location of the wedding, because that's a funny story in and of itself. But first, let's go to our commercial break. And Doug, thank you for taking it away. And when we come back, I'll tell you the story of why I'm getting married in Cleveland, Ohio.
No one wants to live in a country ruled by wizards, unless the alternative is worse. Peter Watts, author of Blindside, says, a near-perfect blend of implacable horror, gallows humor, and ecological apocalypse. Nick Namatis, author of The Second Shooter, says, relentlessly radical and often hilarious. Cascade, Book 1 in the Sleep of Reason trilogy, by Rachel A. Rosen. Available now at bookshop.org, Apple Books, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and at bppress.ca.
In 1883, the famous German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche put forth the idea of the Übermensch, the Superman. In my latest novel, Project Übermensch, Geoffrey Cannon is either a modern-day messiah or the product of a military experiment gone awry. Either way, The young, inspirational guru has mad powers and metaphysical skills. But Jeffrey's life as spiritual healer and speaker takes a dark turn when some devotees, young women he's had brief affairs with, are inexplicably murdered under grisly circumstances. And rumors of Bigfoot and Sasquatch abound. Amazon is the best place to find my books. That's Lonnie Busch, Busch with a C like the beer. I hope you'll check them out.
Welcome back, everybody. So, as promised, I need to let you know why I'm getting married in Cleveland, Ohio, which, no offense to Clevelanders, is not their most romantic locale to escape to for a destination wedding. So the way this came about is that my partner, Crystal, does not like to be the center of attention. She does not want to be. I mean, she's been behind the camera before on this show rather than in front of it. She does not like to be seen, to feel like everybody's staring at her, which is tough when it comes to weddings because everybody's kind of staring at you. And my tendency is obviously the opposite, right? I would love to have, 400 people at the wedding and I'm going through and feeling guilty about every friend and acquaintance I can't invite. And so we're going back and forth about, do we want to do a big giant wedding? Do we want to do a small wedding? How are we going to do that? Her first choice would be to run off to the courthouse and have maybe her kid and my son be our only witnesses. And so our compromise came about when she was talking to my mom, and my folks are having their big 50th anniversary wedding celebration in Cleveland and getting together a bunch of family who are traveling in. And so they were talking about it, and my mom said, it was my mom's idea, said, why don't you just get married when you're out here? And this idea really appealed to Crystal because it meant that she didn't have to, decide which of our friends out here in Oregon would have to be invited and who would be excluded so that she could keep the thing tiny. This way it will be, and it's not, the entirety of my family, which is, especially on my mom's side, hundreds of people, hundreds, the last family reunion was around 100 folks. So this will be small. And that really appealed to her. But then we were thinking, okay, so where in Cleveland are we going to get married that kind of fits us? That will feel, because we are not Clevelanders. This is not our, there's no place that has particular special meaning to us in Cleveland. Where are we going to get married? And our family out there said, well, maybe we could rent a boat and go out on Lake Erie. And Crystal and I kind of looked at one another and we're like, we're not boat people. Like, that's not something that has any particular meaning to us to be married on Lake Erie. And so we looked at, what if it was like a rooftop bar? Because, I like big cities and that would feel cool to me. And, we looked around at some online and we were trying to find locations and not finding anything that was jumping out at us. And then Crystal, almost as a joke, was like, well, we both really loved the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Like, if folks out there have never visited, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is very cool. I went into it very skeptical. I thought, oh, this is going to be a collection of guitars. Like, this is just going to be memorabilia in a building. It's not. It is a museum of American history through music. And it's wonderful. And so if you ever get a chance, go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's very cool. Because, of course, rock and roll, by its nature, is all of these other art forms brought together, whether it's the art forms that are non-musical that involve, designing the T-shirts and the posters and the instruments themselves, which is an art form, or it's all these other musical styles. You can't have rock and roll without country music and gospel and blues. And so all these things are brought together in this cool place. So we thought, okay, let's look into it. And sure enough, you can get married at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So we're going to get married at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So I am really excited about the locale, and the folks there have been wonderful about, helping us arrange that and get that all ready. Despite the fact that I hate that planning, they've made that as easy as possible. So we'll have a small service on a patio there at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So that's why I'm getting married in Cleveland, Ohio. In either sweltering humidity or rain or snow, it's Cleveland, Ohio. You never know. In fact, already people have said to me, "Oh yeah, don't worry, it's really hot right now." Oh, but also by Sunday it may break, and who knows what it will be. Like those of you who know anything about Cleveland know the weather is transitory at best. Like, the air can come out of Canada and travel across Lake Erie and suddenly become a blizzard. And then it can decide, nope, it's going to come up from southern Ohio and right out of the Gulf Coast and be a swamp. It just decides on a given day. This is the kind of weather, and Clevelanders are a hardy bunch of people, and they're used to it. And those of us who do not live in Cleveland are going, "What is happening here? It was 85 degrees yesterday with 100% humidity, and now it is, now it's snowing." It is wild. I don't know how anything stays alive in terms of plants, but it's a very fertile area, despite the fact that I would think any plant would be like, this sucks. Like, yeah, I'm getting moisture and sun, but also it's freezing and then it's hot. I'm just gonna die here. But they don't. The plants grow there. So great, great, great for Clevelanders, great for Cleveland plants. Not a place that I would want to get married. And yet I am. It's a weird place. So yes, off to Cleveland. The people are very cool. It's a cool city. Yeah, I'm getting married in Cleveland. It's weird. So yeah, this is the Twilight Zone episode that is my life. But very excited about getting to see everybody and the ceremony. Oh, and I have a great niece who is just turned 1, who I have not met yet. And so I am very excited to get to meet Delaney, my brother's oldest daughter's daughter. And so, yeah, there will be pictures posted of me getting to meet Delaney, because I've been very excited. I have been following her online, since her birth, and I've never gotten to meet her, which has been kind of heart-wrenching. So excited to get to see Delaney and get to see my nieces. And oh, and I didn't mention who's performing the service. So this is very cool. So Crystal's kid, Frankie, is just great. And I've got one son, Noah. And so our kids are going to officiate the service, which is really going to be cool. Frankie and Noah will do a great job, and that will be a lot of fun as well. Yeah, wish me luck in this next week getting married, and I will see you all as with another ring on my finger come next time you see this show. Take care, everybody.
If I take my time, I make up my mind.